Amy, Chuck, Chris. Good. And so tonight, we've been kind of trying to figure out like what's the best way to do this, and like what do we want to tie, and we want to have the the folks at the Dan Bailey's that are teaching us something different, and we don't want to do the same thing. And so we always say at the end of the night, say, well, what do we want to try next week? And we then do a little round table. We're gonna do stoneflies. We're gonna start with a really easy pattern to tie. So if you've never tied flies before, it's a perfect one to jump in on. It's super usable on the Yellowstone River. And then we're gonna tie a medium one, and then I promised, like I'm all about like taking complication and pushing it away, right? Doesn't need to be complicated to catch fish. But I am a complicated human being, and sometimes I complicate things, and I was gonna do a golden stonefly. Okay. That I tie for my box.
Is that the one you had a picture of on the...
Yeah, that was the one I had the picture of. Well, thank you. It's really just a function of taking, I learned this over here, I learned that over here, I learned this over here, I learned this over here, bring it together, right? So, I'll have a...
Would you guys like some wine? There's beer too.
Yeah.
I'll have beer. Oh, that was fun.
All right. I got one for you, man.
All right, thanks. I just have a little red wine. Patty's
We're
my
training each other.
warms me
I've
up.
been here once. I know it's you can bring to share.
Yeah.
All right, and so I think probably the best way to do this is first talk about how we build a fly. If you just hand me one of those big hooks right in front of you, there, that's the one, right? We'll leave Patty to her duties here with the red wine.
Right here, close by. Okay.
Yep. And so I'm just going to put it in my vise, and I'll just kind of talk about building a fly. We always typically build a fly from the back end to the front end, right? There are some exceptions to the rule, and those exceptions make the rule, right? And so Pat's Rubber Legs is probably one of the most successful flies, most used flies, most effective flies on the Yellowstone. I believe that without question. And so, if you've seen Pat's Rubber Legs, sometimes they call it the turd, or the turd with legs, or whatever. But it starts at the back here and goes forward. And I'm just gonna, I want you to make sure that you have some chenille.
Thank you.
And as we need more tools for you guys, we'll get them. So squeeze that handle there, and then put that hook right in the jaws, and then release the handle. Perfect. And then just try to make it as parallel to the table as possible. Not a huge deal, but it makes things a little bit easier.
What do you think about how much do we need?
Oh, I give yourself. I bought extra so we'd have ample amounts. So
Like this much?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think that's a good start. And then so basically any fly recipe you see is going to start, and it's going to start at the back end, and it's going to say tail, or it's going to say bead. That kind of tells you what for the first thing to go on is. You work your way up. Let's get some bottles with thread. Hand it out here.
6-0 or 8-0?
6-0 would be appropriate here.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Where's my, there. It doesn't matter what color the thread is for the sake of our conversation.
So do you like to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, and then you can just turn this and then spin it the other direction. So I'm gonna, here, Chuck, I'm gonna give you yellow to start with. That's a 6-0. Amy. It's Amy, right? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give you black.
You're just showing off, man, that you can see that.
You wait till I fumble with it for 20 minutes. And then, I'm gonna give you...
I got one side of tools out.
No, this is fine. We'll just get all this out here. I'm gonna give you some olive here. It's a little bit thinner thread. Mm-hmm. But this isn't critical at this point. Thread on this fly, thread's not like a deal breaker, so to speak. You know, Other fly patterns it can be, but this
Building
is
up body, probably. Or
correct. And I'm going to show you some other ways to do that.
So on thread, when would you use waxed versus non-waxed?
That's a really good question. And I actually bought some of the Vineyard's wax to wax strings. Now,
You're doing dubbing.
yeah, like when you're doing dubbing is another one. Another one is like a wax thread won't absorb water.
Uh-huh.
So maybe on a dry fly. Adding wax also helps you secure to as you wrap your thread base.
Uh-huh.
I've seen it used a bunch of different ways. I just buy the wax thread.
You don't really pay much mind to it.
I said the first time I ever asked for unwaxed thread was like a year ago.
Okay.
And so I was trying to get a fly to sink faster.
Mm-hmm.
And it made no difference. But what I could see is if you were fishing with a dry fly all day, right, and it was working, and then the thread becomes waterlogged, then you may have a buoyancy issue.
Right.
Is this one through? Maybe I'm giving you grace since all's giving me a hard time.
So one more question for you.
Sure, shoot.
On streamers,
Yep.
can you pretty much interchange a bead head for a cone head?
You can.
Uh-huh.
A cone head's much heavier.
Okay.
And if you want to see, I think I might have some cone heads with me, but
Yeah.
if you want to see the difference.
Yeah. Okay. No, I've got them at home.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
Okay. So how we start any fly is we got to attach our thread to the hook shank. When I say the hook shank, that's the flat part. The bend is this. The point is right there. Well, that's the sharpen, and then there's a little barb, right? So if you're right-handed, you hold it in your right hand, right? With your left hand, you just grab the thread like this, put it over the top, and just wrap right over the top of it so it secures itself. And then you can see that if you just hang it like that. Like that. Yeah, wrap forward. Yep. So just take your hand to the other side. Yep, good. Now wrap forward. Hey, Dan, how are you? Good. You just let it hang. Let's raise this up a little bit so you can kind of use the thread tension. Okay. Like that. Good. We're all on. And then what I want you to do is this is probably one of the underrated skills of fly tying is I want you to take your time and make one wrap right next to the other wrap. Okay.
I thought I was until I could actually see it, and it was
There's little gaps in there, even on mine. And one way to do that, here's a little trick, right? So here's the tag end. Hold it at a 45-degree angle, and it'll guide it right next down onto it, pretty much. Right? And you're gonna come all the way down. And we're gonna just creating a thread base here. Okay?
Have you ever untwist the thread and make the thread flat?
I do. Yeah, occasionally. Especially when I want a smooth body. Yep. And then sometimes I make that smooth body, I do it the other way, and I make a rib going on. Yep. Yep. So I have on my little mat at home, like this, it says counterclockwise, flat, clockwise, rope. I wrote it down on the side because I kept forgetting. But hypothetically speaking, right, you should be able to go either way. You just have to completely unwind it and unwind it. Hey, how's it going, man?
good. How are you?
Welcome. I forgot your name.
Rafe.
Rafe, nice to meet you.
Hey, Rafe.
Is this spot open right here?
Yep. Grab a seat. We're gonna work all yourself all the way. Get yourself set up, Rafe. You got your fly tying kit?
Yeah, I just put it all in this box.
That's perfect. That's perfect. We'll go all the way to the back of to the bend of the hook, and we're gonna tie in a tail. Okay.
Yeah, I just got that.
Which one, what make is this
I
one?
think it's the Renzetti, I think, or Benzetti.
Oh yeah, Renzetti. I got the same
Traveler,
one.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Me too. I've had mine 25 years.
Oh.
I don't know what happened to the non-tox weight from last week, but so it's somewhere around. We use large copper wire for weight.
Okay.
There you go. Pass it down to Chuck. Here's one for you.
Mhm.
So, Rafe, I'll get Rafe some more right here. Pass that down to Rafe for me.
That's pretty good.
That's all right.
Let's see, he's gonna need a hook.
I
Oh,
got
he's got, okay.
Yep.
There we go.
Rafe, you know how to get started and stuff? Get the thread on?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
that's heavy copper. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Usually I use a non-toxic wrapping, like they used to use fuse wire, was lead. They don't use lead no more. So, but they have this non-toxic stuff, but I can't seem to find it in my organized little kit there. But we can use some of this copper to kind of get it down, because this fly imitates the nymph of, and Rafe, we're doing a Pat's rubber leg right now to start off with, okay? And then and so like with this, we're just gonna take it, and we're gonna go about to the 1/3 mark on the shank, right? And we're just gonna put it on there as weight, like this. I'm just wrapping it around like that, and that's gonna get us to sink a little bit faster than if we didn't do it.
So you're doing like 10 wraps or something?
I got 10, whatever, like a 1/2 inch worth of wraps. Okay, and I'm just gonna come back up, and I'm gonna put a little dam at the back side of it. So right here, I'm just gonna, right at the end, I don't know if you can see the television, I'm just gonna put a dam on the back side of it, and just kind of come up through the middle of those wraps to kind of secure it in place, and a dam on the front end of it. Just like that. Go back down. And then all the way back to where I'm going to tie in the tails. Okay? And you don't have to put the wraps one next to the other, but that skill unto itself, putting a wrap down with your thread and then putting one right next to it, very useful. Good. Let's see what you got there. Perfect. Good. Good. Now bring it all. Yeah, bring it all the way back down now.
Did you twist it off?
I did. I did. I just popped it off with my scissors. If you don't have scissors, I can give you some.
How many wraps?
Like I did about like a 1/2 inch of wraps, and that'll help facilitate getting this down in the water. Sometimes they put a tungsten bead on the front of it, and that take it down to the bottom. Good. So that's good. Come back a little bit right, so you're just right before the bend, right? Because we want the tail to sit nice and flat on there. Okay. I put some rubber legs out there. Grab a long strand of rubber, 2 long strands of rubber legs, and I'll show you how I tie the Pat's rubber leg.
There's 2 here.
Yep.
Here's some more legs.
Thanks.
So there's a couple ways you can do this. The way I've been doing rubber legs lately is I take one of them and I fold it over like this. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put it on the back end, and I'm just going to like measure a nice little tail. That tail is roughly 3/4 of the length of the shank on this hook. Sticks out the back. Once I kind of put them on there, right, I'll turn this like this. I want one roughly on one side, one on the other like that. I'll pass it off. Can you all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll pass it off between my fingers. And I'll take my line. I'll just make one loose wrap around. Well, here I'm going to do a pinch wrap. So as I bring it up, I pinch it between my fingers. You see how that red line is now slack, but I'm still maintaining control of it. Okay, and then I just pull it straight down onto those two tails. 1, 2, just like that. Okay. Pinch wrap, right? We make a wrap around. We pull it straight up in the air. We pinch the thread, right? And then we drop down on the back side of the hook and snug it down. And that way everything kind of stays together. Yeah, very good.
Sorry.
Yep.
So I check to get in this copper off.
Use your,
Just twist it like.
you can do that or just take your scissors and go snip, snap.
Oh, okay.
Use yours. Like, don't use the tip.
Yeah, you'll jack the scissors up, but. Okay. So I'm going to pull this up here. You can see like it sticks out like this. You know, a stonefly has 2 prominent tail fibers, right? Just like that. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Wait till y'all catch up. Looking good, Chuck?
Yep.
Yep, good. Yeah, looks great.
This goes off the front.
No, back.
Off the back. So take your thread and move it all the way back to
It's
here.
gonna be a tail.
I put some white.
Yeah, I see that.
I didn't know what the.
It's gonna go down like a tank. Okay, so go all the way to the back here. We'll give you some tail material.
I can see about 20, 30 years of this. I'll get pretty good.
You put it back up. Right
Okay.
there.
Got it right there, right? And then lay it like this down and match them up. Lay it down on either side and do that pinch wrap. Okay. Split. Okay? Yeah, good. Now take that you got your bobbin, pull it straight up and pinch it between your fingers that's holding the stuff in there. And then bring it around the back side. Yep. Again. Bye, Dan. We'll see you later.
See you later. Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
Bye, Dan.
Yeah, very nice. You see how they're split and everything? Yeah, perfect. Good. Good. So you can give yourself 2 or 3 wraps that'll lock that in place, right?
Okay.
And I'm just going, and I like to hold things in place to lock them down because I'll want to move on you because you're putting tension on the thread, right? Great. Nice, Rafe. They split for you?
Yeah.
Great. Because you really want that. That's prominent. When you look at a picture of a stonefly, they stand out like crazy. Next time you're on the river, flip a few rocks, you'll find a ton of stoneflies in our river. And just take a good close look at them. How big they are, their kind of color, their kind of formation. What's
Grab a salmon fly.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, look, one of my favorite things to do is I learned this from an art teacher because I was never a very good artist, but I had to take this elective in college. And he said, Jan, blur your vision. And by blurring your vision, you become acutely aware of what's prominent on whatever you're drawing. Same is true of that bug. And you'll see the 2 tail feathers. You'll see the dark back. Okay? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna advance my thread forward, and all this is gonna be the antenna as well. So I put a little tension. I actually stretch the legs a little bit when I do this, like this. Okay, you see how I've got some tension on there?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just kind of start wrapping. And so the way the pros do this is they go like this. They take their left hand underneath the vise, like this, and they go 1, and release, 2, release,
Now, are you stretching it so it lays nice, or so that you have long antennas?
So I want them both, you know. Stretching it, I lost control of it. Like this. And just make loose wraps up just to secure it in place. Because we're going to come back down to the bottom again and really lock it down, right? Okay.
So you go all the way to the eye.
Yeah.
Okay.
And make sure that those legs stay on the top. Good. Just like that, right? Now I'm going to go all the way back again. And what I'm doing is I'm building a body up here as well with thread. Good. Now, all you got to do for your antenna is take your scissors. Right? Like that. And I got 2 floppy antenna on there. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Stretch that out so it goes out above the eye here. You see how mine?
I put like do I want to use the copper as like the body? Like, should I bring it all the way up or should I just leave it like that?
But you can leave it like that too. Those could be the back legs, and then you just have to put another couple up on the front up there for your antenna, if you want antenna.
Okay.
I like antenna because this fly just goes like this, right? Flops around. Good. I'm going to advance to about halfway up. So I'm halfway up the shank after I've got all that kind of lashed down. Maybe a little bit more than half. Let's go right there. Oh, that's all right. That'll happen. That'll happen. Here, I'll get that for you. There you go.
Thank you.
Yep. Just wrap it right over the thread where you were. So I get to like that 3/5 mark right there, maybe. I'm going to tie in another set of legs. Actually, we can go up a little bit more. Let's go to the 2/3 mark up forward. We'll just tie them in this way. So what I do is I just take 2, I put them in the side there. I lash them down 1, 2, 3. Right there's 2. And I go on the other side. You see, I just got a lash to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Like this. I'm going to pin it up against the side.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. Good.
Okay.
And then what you can do, kind of. And then I'm going to come back again to the back. Now the trick with Pat's rubber legs is dealing with all these rubber legs everywhere. But if you're just mindful in your wraps and you pull them out, you'll be fine.
All right.
Okay?
I'm just lost.
That's all right.
I got behind.
That's okay. So you had 2 strands, fold it in half, cut it in half. Yep. And that way they're not so big. And what I'll do is you'll see me like throughout this, I'll just like push them out of the way. And weave the chenille we're going to do as our next step, which is the stuff that Patty cut for us.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, sorry.
Did you take one whole leg and put it on one side and one whole leg on it? Got it.
Cut it in half.
Got it.
Yeah. So take the second leg that we gave you, cut it in half.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Take a look here. See that? So it's just on either side. And all it is 3 wraps. Well, I guess the first one you put down gets 6 wraps, but 3 wraps each, right? Then I move my line back to the tail end. I'm going to tie in our chenille, and then we'll wrap forward through all that.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay? Now take it, once you get the legs in, take it all the way back to the butt of the fly again.
Okay.
Good. So, Patty cut us all a little bit of chenille.
Does
everybody got like a piece of chenille?
I need one.
Here you go.
Let's see.
We got some more right here.
It's right there, yeah. About this much, just cut it
Right, thank you.
roughly this
You need
much.
some more, Rafe?
How many, can I see yours? Can you like move the vise like that for a second?
Like this?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really show up on the camera, does it? Okay. So I got basically in the thorax, I got its legs really prominent on a stonefly. Did you guys see the picture of the stonefly that he posted online? It was next to my thumb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the rock. Where you look at that, you see his legs, you see his antenna, you see his dark back, right? Do that trick, blurred vision, and say like, oh, what's prominent here?
Yeah.
That's how I got how I made it through that art class. Blurred my vision.
I'm working really hard to unblur my vision.
I know now. I wish I had it back. I wish I didn't. Good. So we're gonna take this, right?
Mhm.
And we'll once we got our legs in, right? And we want this to look leggy. We want it to look like a mess, all right? So one of the things you can do is you can strip the fuzz. You know, you'll get a core of I do it with my teeth. You get to the thread core. You see that? Yeah, perfect. And this is what we tie in at the butt, so it doesn't really, like, you're not wrapping over bulk, right? You see that, Rafe?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I'm just gonna quick tie it in, just like that, right? And then I'm just gonna work my way back up again, covering that black thread core. Just make some wraps coming up. Just push the rubber legs out of the way. I think this is the hardest part of the fly. Otherwise, it's super simple. It's just dealing with all the rubber legs, but you know, it's the old catch-22. You want the long rubber legs, but you know, in the fly to give it its action. Park County's finest.
Well, they've been out a lot.
Yeah, we've been really busy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys saw on the town Facebook, but they're like, someone's calling around pretending to be the Park County Sheriff.
No.
Yeah, and they're saying like, you're gonna need bail money, so go to the bank and we can route the numbers and yeah. So I mean, it's literally going on. And so I actually worked with the sheriff a lot when I was at the hospital, and he sent him a text, and I was like, with the screenshot of the thing, I'm like, what? That wasn't you? No response. I'm sure he's like, I can't believe I'm having to deal with this right now.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You know, we've had some real bad road conditions. Well, you know, happened to me too there. Real bad road conditions. They've been out nonstop. They're basically under.
They had a ground blizzard over by Big Timber yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's
really?
Was that
crazy.
here too, or just over in that area?
We didn't have the ground blizzard yesterday, but when I showed up to work here, there was 8 inches of snow in the parking lot, and I lived down the valley. I had nothing. I was like, what happened up here?
We have like 4 in town, I'd say.
I think it just got blown in here. You know, we're right in what I call the pinch,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like you take weather here and then you push it up against a mountainside and it goes, oh, the only way through is through the pinch. Like toothpaste. Good.
Then the wind comes and blows it off.
I'll send over to Big Timber. All right. We got how we doing with good. You got the chenille tied in at the tail end. Great. And we've advanced our thing forward. And now we're just going to wrap our chenille. And this is what I do. I just move the legs out of the way and keep going. Let me get that little nose hair out of the way here. Like this. One wrap of the chenille right next to the other wrap. And don't be afraid to manhandle those legs. Or woman handle, as the case may be.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I just push them out of the way, and I just take my wraps nice and easy all the way up.
You wrap the chenille in the same direction as you do the thread?
Yeah, or you can do a reverse wrap too. It's up to you, but I don't think it's necessary. I mean, tradition would tell you to reverse wrap it,
Okay.
but I don't think it makes any difference. I think it makes a difference with materials that are prone to breaking. So pheasant tail, peacock herl, stuff like that. I'll reverse wrap that. So now when I get to the first set of legs, I chenille right up to the connection, and I split the middle, right? And that's gonna push our legs backwards a little bit and forwards. Now I'm gonna pull the second set of legs back and wrap in front of them, right? Just like that. I'm gonna come one more wrap, and now I'm right behind the antenna. I should be right behind the antenna. And then I'm just gonna tie it off in front of the antenna. 1, 2. Okay, you see that? So I'm leaving room for me to build a head there.
Okay.
Okay? Don't worry if you've crowded the head a little bit. Everybody does it. It's about, that's like the learning, right? I'm just gonna, you see how I block off my thread? Because this is, aside from breaking it with thread tension, this is the other way that we break thread, is trimming materials. So I block the thread off with my forefinger. I come in and I just make a little snip, and there's that. Okay? Okay? This is another trick they use on almost every fly you ever tie. Okay? Take your hand, swipe the materials backwards. Okay? And then finish off the head. Okay? Just like that. Right up behind the eye there, Patty. There you go. Perfect. See how you're building a nice little head there? Rafe, you're gonna need a bigger box soon, my friend.
Yeah.
Don't worry, this is how bad it gets later on. Is you get one of these things.
Oh, I need to get one of those.
You can get them for like $30 on Amazon. And I have another one at home. Then. Yeah, nice. Right? Well, you kind of got bunched up here somehow, right? Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. And so what I did there was I made one wrap behind the first set of legs. I went between the two. Then I pulled these back, and I pulled another one in front of it, and that kind of separates them out a little bit. But that's okay. Nice.
So you tie these guys in green, brown, black?
Yeah, this is my favorite color right here. Variegated green and black, or olive and coffee, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, did I bring it up here with me? Please tell me I brought it up here with me. Okay, we'll be right back because this is the trick of tricks on this.
It's gonna take some practice. And a set of glasses.
Yeah. Tie the big easy ones and buy the little hard ones.
Okay, so remember I told you like what's really prominent about a stonefly. Let me show you that. Real prominent about a stonefly are the tails, right? The legs, and a prominent dark back. Black Sharpie. Especially up in the thorax.
The challenging part, not tying in
Hit the legs.
the legs.
It's the hardest part about this fly. So let you look at that, and I'll show you how to trim the legs so that they're all kind of about the same.
Nice.
You know, we'll pass that around. See what that black magic marker does on the back? Just dab it on there. It makes a difference. It looks darker.
Oh, yeah.
Little trick. And it looks particularly good when you use the yellow variegated for the golden stone. We'll tie one of those next. All right, let's trim the legs. That's right. So what I do with the legs, almost all my rubber leg type stuff is, so I'm not going to do anything to these bottom ones. These tails are sized perfectly fine for me. I'm happy with that. I don't want to change that. But these ones are kind of, one's longer than the other, and my two antennae are a little bit long. So like these ones, I just pinch them together. We're going to do the antenna first. I'll pinch them together. And always, like you have an idea how short you want it, go cut a little longer, right? I come on out, I cut a little longer, and I say,
So you can always trim.
correct. That's still a little too long, right? So I'll come in here and I'll go like that. And that, I'm happy with that, right? Now with the legs, so they're all kind of uniform, is stroke them back and go to one spot. And I usually use the end of the fly, right? Like this. And I go, okay, I'm going to trim them right there. Okay? And so I cut them all at the same spot. And that way, they're all uniform. Make sense? So stroke them back. See what I mean?
Okay. I think
One is a little longer on
you
there.
just need to go a little bit
All
shorter.
right. But right there is probably the single most effective fly on the Old Stone River. Is some people put a marabou tail on it, like so they call it a turd with the tail. You know, and it works really well underneath a indicator rig, right? Slow drifted through a hole. And what also does it really accommodates nicely a dropper fly off of it. So a lot of the people I know that fish this will fish this underneath a chubby rubby, or they'll fish it underneath an indicator with a second like small perdigon nymph or a flashback pheasant tail or your favorite confidence nymph that you have.
Right. So you don't need like split shot on this because since you already weighted it.
Correct. This is, I mean, you could.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like to have like unweighted,
Yeah.
moderately weighted, heavily
Yeah.
weighted flies. And so,
But it can be anywhere in the water column, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, especially when I'm using this to casting a really heavily weighted fly this size with a 5 weight gets meh. You want a 6 weight, and like, if all I got is a 5 weight, then my fly's got to accommodate that. So some split shot might not be a bad thing, or like what I've done in the past is use a tungsten beaded dropper underneath it, so it literally sinks it. Right. So my dropper fly is like a size 12, tungsten bead headed, name it, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it'll all go down like this. Right?
So if it's a black one, you're not gonna.
No.
Yeah.
No. No, but if it's a green or a yellow one, like this one, like you notice the difference.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And most animals, when you flip, like in the water, most insects, when you flip them over, they're lighter shade on the belly as they are on the back. Make sense? Good. Let's see them. Hold them up so I can see them. Chuck, yours looks pretty good. Let's see yours, Amy. Do you know how to tie it off yet?
Well,
With finish?
do you have a tool?
I do.
I can borrow?
Yeah. I thought you were gonna like the old guys.
Well, he knows. The old guy knows.
Good for you, Chuck.
I saw
Good
him.
for you. That's a lost art, right? Nice. That'll work, man. That will absolutely work. I think what happened is here, like we want these down a little bit farther. Yeah, and this one up a little bit higher. So it's just a matter of where you wrap it. That's a good first start. That will catch a fish. BTW, as my daughter would say. She's 12, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
So those side legs are probably
Let's take a look at it,
a
Chuck.
little bit long yet.
That's okay. You know, yeah, perfect. I mean, that looks great. So all you gotta do is like, yeah. Kidding me? That's money. And remember that all insects have an abdomen, they have a thorax, and they have a head, right? If you want to be in the insect family or the kingdom Insecta, right? You have to have an abdomen, a thorax, and a head, and they come in a variety of sizes and shapes. What do you think? You want to tie another rubber legs? You want to move on to a Psycho Prince? Psycho Prince.
Sounds good.
Psycho Prince, another very effective fly on the Yellowstone River, especially this time of year. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. I'll get the materials and we'll take a run at it.
Okay.
All right. So this one we're going to use a size. We'll use a bigger hook. So we'll use like a size 12. Here. And if we want to tie a smaller one, we'll tie a smaller one. Okay. Here's a size 12. I'll get some beads. Everybody grab a hook. So on a size 12 hook, we'll use like a 1/8 inch bead. So this will be a depth charge. So take a bead and we'll use some of this. We'll use some ice stub for the body. We're going to use biots for the tail. Okay, how to tie in a biot. But remember that, like, what I taught you before about tying in tails with the rubber legs applies equally to the biot tail. Okay, it's just a little smaller. Okay. And then I want you to put on a bead on this fly.
But these are really nice wraps.
Yeah, I worked really hard. That one took me 2 hours to do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a show. That's like
Yeah,
you know,
like a
like
shadowbox kind of deal.
that's I'm tired of counting, widgets. I need something else to do while I'm here. And so I tied that. And a friend of mine who is a longtime guide in Paulette, Vermont, and a legendary figure in southern Vermont, tied a bunch of those, put them on his website. And so I was kind of on a Eastern streamer kick. But that's what I mean. Like every wrap lines up right next to the
It's
other one.
really nice.
Over a 10x leader.
It's like the copper head, I think.
A copper or a gold, whatever one you want to use is fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then we just need the hooks when you need a change. Oh, there's one right here. All right, sorry.
Is there a lot of brookie fishing anymore?
Oh, ton, yeah. The brook trout, and brown and rainbow trout too, but brook trout is the native species there, as is the landlocked salmon.
You ever gone up in New Brunswick?
God, I had one opportunity to go up to the La Petite Cascapedia to fish Atlantic salmon, and I didn't take it. And
Kicking yourself for it.
well, it might have been my only opportunity to do it. But come on, I know you want to go on. There you go. All right. Good. So we're tying this into 12s because it's easy to manage. But I know, Rafe, you've seen these in the bin. They go down to 16, 18. And they work great. I think they work really well as specifically the yellow works really well as a little yellow Sally stonefly. And it's really bright and glittery and gets a lot of attention. And so, let's see here. Where's my little copper wire here?
We used that up on the Missouri too.
Yeah. I'm going there in 2 weeks. It's a good fly. I mean, we'll put a little rib in this too, just to kind of keep it all together, because I think ribbing is an important skill to have. It's not necessary on this fly, but we're going to put it in anyway. There you go. So everybody got one? Or you need one, Chuck, still. There you go. All right. So good. Awesome. We start the same way we always start, right? And that's with our wraps. I start behind the bead here, and I just kind of.
Is this your dam?
Yeah, well, you can build the dam, but you need a lot of thread for this big bead. So we're gonna get it started. I'm gonna show you how to jam material up into it to dam it off. Like this. I'm just gonna work my way to the back. Okay. Just like that. I think this fly is real easy to tie too. In that, Chuck, can you hand me, or not Chuck, I'm sorry, remember your name again. Chris. Hand me that little box there. Okay. You're gonna, when this comes around, you're gonna grab yourself a dark one, right? And then a white one as well. A white segment to pull off biots, okay?
So what kind of bird is this?
It's probably goose biot or turkey biot or duck biot, one of the two, three, sorry.
Yeah, we have a couple turkeys, so I went and
Yeah,
sit off.
I got 13 chickens right now.
Yeah, we got a bunch too.
I
But,
love
yeah,
them.
their feathers don't work as well as what you can buy.
Yeah, you're right.
Too short.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Tom Whiting, okay, did you see that? You see all that? I got red on there all the way to the back. You got yours, Rafe. Amy, you got yours.
Is this one supposed to lock this bead head in?
Yeah, it will, but right now it won't because
It's a little loose.
yeah, it's a little loose. So I wouldn't worry about that, right? So these are biots. These are the leading edge of a primary flight feather, right? And so if you bend them up, you see they're kind of spiky and pointy, and
Oh yeah.
yeah. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just bend them up. We're gonna take two off the back here. And these should be brown. These are dark brown. I might have grabbed the black ones instead by accident, and I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna cut them off like that.
You want to snip with some of this one?
What's that?
Do you want some of this one?
Sure. Just
Oh, yeah. We got
So are you trying to
plenty.
get like near the
Yeah.
end so it's the longest ones?
No, I just grabbed two because we're only going to use part of them for our tail, right? I'm just going to match them up like this. And I think one of the useful hints here is to create a little ball right at the end here at the bend of the hook.
Is that enough?
sure.
Just like this.
And then just go like this,
Okay.
and then you can grab.
Yeah. That's how bad my eyes are. These are supposed to be brown. I think they're
Well,
black.
you're
But
supposed to grab
Mm-hmm.
it's fine.
Just sure.
2 of each color.
Just match them up. Okay.
Are you doing the black first?
Yep, the black will be the tail. Now you can tie this in any color you want. I got yellow and I got purple. The purple works really well too. Anything purple in this river works really, really well.
Same as the earth.
See them?
Well, the fish
Perfect.
can actually see the purple better.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, they can, especially in off-color water. It actually has as good of visual properties as black.
Yeah, they say that it has more depth levels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really interesting.
So do you ever tie kind of a black purple Pat's rubber legs?
Yeah. Yeah. You can do it however you want. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
You know, what I do is and one day I'll do this pattern with you guys. I tie what I call the AP nymph, all-purpose nymph.
Mhm.
It has an abdomen, it has a thorax, it has a head, and so I'll tie the thorax. I'll tie it like with a pheasant tail abdomen, pheasant tail, and then a pheasant tail shellback, and then I'll put whatever color I want in the thorax: pink, blue, purple, yellow, whatever. It's just like a pheasant tail nymph. And then I typically, on the AP nymph, I'll put a twirl of soft hackle for legs and lash it down. Okay, so once we got these, create a little ball of thread right at the tail end here, where at the end of the shank. And then what I do is I just lay them down like this on either side of that. I measure out how far I want the things to come out. I pinch it off and I put 2 wraps right behind that ball like this, and it pops them out. Magic. Boom. Can you all see that? See how the ball pushed them apart?
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then I just come up and I lash down the tag ends on there like that, and I go back down. Like this, that'll pop up.
So that like a third of your shank is how long?
Yeah, about a third. You know, like this is a pretty long shanked hook. And the reason I brought it because it's easy to pack a bunch of stuff on and you get the idea of how to do it. And then you can kind of adapt the technique to a smaller curved nymph hook or whatever you want to use. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get them in?
I think.
Let's take a look. Yeah, look at that. I can see them split from here. Yeah, nice. You got them split?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Rafe, doing good? I can't see all the way over there.
Yeah, I got it, I think.
Let me come over to you. Yeah, awesome, dude. Awesome. Shirts untucked. Just go totally. You either gotta be tucked in or you gotta be untucked. Can't
Yeah.
be both.
Yeah.
So, usually by the end of the day, I'm like, I think I'm gonna go untucked from now on.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that all works for me. The next one is the copper wire. What we're gonna do is like tie this in And I like to tie it in right on the side. And now watch what I do. I take the pointy end and I push it into the head of the bead, right? And now I'm just gonna hold it in place. And I'm just gonna come forward and back down. But I want it on the side of the hook.
Oh, the side.
Yeah, because that's gonna give it width. In fact, I'm even gonna back off a couple turns here. Do that, like this. So it's gonna run right up the side of the hook.
Oops.
Okay, and then I just come back down. You see how that builds body and it also builds weight. Very good. Okay. Everybody's got that in. Great. Sometimes I just go up and make a couple passes up and down just to kind of really secure things. This is the technique used by the salmon fishermen. Like when they tie things in, they tie it in all the way up the shank of the hook and back down, and that way it makes for a much stronger and bulkier fly. Sometimes you don't want bulky, but now this was
You tie
What's that?
the copper all over that.
I'll use some dark olive over on this side. Here, you pass out the purple and the yellow. The yellow is one of my favorite flies to use. So if you want like kind of a known winner, use the yellow. The purple works great. I'm going to use dark olive just so that you guys can use that. But dark olive, or you can use any color you want, but look for ice dub. And when it comes around, look at the ice dub and you just see how it shimmers in the. This pattern. Designed by a guy named Mike Mercer, very famous fly designer, and he took the old Prince nymph and really revolutionized it with new materials, etc. Really cool. So we're going to build a dubbing noodle. You guys, a dubbing noodle is simply we're taking material and we're spinning it on the thread, okay, like this. Okay, and the way this is the best description I've ever heard, is like if I just take a hunk like this and I drop it, it just drops to the ground, right? Like that. To appropriately apply it, you want it to be spread out so it floats to the ground. Like this. You know, that's still even a little bit much, so I'm going to take half of it out, and I'm going to go like this. Now we're getting there. And that's spread out enough, so I'll take a little bit more off. I'll put it in my pile. And that's how, like, you want dubbing to be loosely amalgamated. There we go. That's what I'm looking for, right? And I'm going to take that, I'm going to lay it on the thread, spread it out in a long kind of line, and just spin it on. Like this. Okay? You're going to use a lot of dubbing on this fly because it's a big, long shanked hook. We're going to build the abdomen.
Are you tapering the?
I am. I want to go narrow to fat, right?
Okay.
Are we starting from the tail end?
Yeah, the tail end and working forward. Okay. And I'm just going to make some more wraps here. I'm going to just kind of try to make it bigger and bigger as I go up.
So you want it to be kind of loose so it's more buggy looking, or do you want?
I do. In fact, with this one, sometimes I'll even take it and rub it on a rock. That's an old Dave Hughes trick. Take your fly, rub it on a rock to kind of, you know, fluff it up a little bit. Here we go. And then, then spin. Down there. Good, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to just take my wire, and you can forward or reverse wrap this. Forward would probably be just easier. Just wrap it forward. Good. When you get up to that spot behind the thing, just make a couple wraps to lock it down, and then helicopter it off. Helicoptering is all this is. Right here, go around in a circle like helicopters' blades. Okay. I just found this material for our fly the other day. It's called Widow's Web, or I'll put it in the strung hackle bag, but this stuff is pretty awesome for a wing. How we doing?
Getting there.
Good.
Okay.
The next step is, okay, yeah, tie that on, I'll lash it down, and then helicopter it off. We'll break it off nice and neat. Okay. Good. Nice evenly spaced wraps with the copper wire. Nice, Rafe. I can see that yellow from here, man. Good. Nice. So now we get a little wing. It's just a little tuft of this widow's web. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it around. I'm going to show you how to tie it in first. Between the pin, you know, like this. You just lay it on the surface. And then I'm just going to loose wrap. And then tight wrap, tight wrap, tight wrap, tight wrap, tight wrap it down. There we go, like that. Tight wrap. Okay, I want you to see how short this wing bud is. It's like this big. That's it. That's it. Here.
Perfect.
Yep. I'll pass some more your way here. Pass that down. I love this stuff. I was like, I couldn't find what I wanted. And I thought, and he was like, you should try this. And I'm like, rah, and I did, and it's fantastic. It's good stuff. I've been tying with it a small pattern for the shop ends, and it is. Here's some more. Rafe, you need some?
I think
You got some? All right, pass it all down. Amy, you got some?
I do.
Okay. Good, just put it.
Did you just put in like?
Yep, I just laid it across the top, Rafe, and then a loose wrap over the top first, snug it down. Second wrap is a little tighter, a little tighter, a little tighter. Just makes a little thing, and I just snip it off.
Is this gonna be like the back, like?
Yep.
Okay.
Let me get this out of the way here. Get some nose hairs here. Okay. Just like that. And it wants to just lay down across the back. Look how small that is, right? It's not very big at all. No. It's like a wing bud, they would call it.
Yeah.
The next step is to take our white biots, and we're going to put one on either side. Ooh, these biots have seen better days. Okay, like this. just on either side of that wing bud. And there's two ways to tie them in. The easiest way to tie them in, I think, is to tie them facing forward. I just hope these aren't so dry that they're... Okay. So what I do is I take them and I go two like that, right? And I tie them forward first, like this. Oh, that did not work. Put them on either side. The wing bud, we'll try this again. Nice loose loop. You'll see them start to splay backwards, right?
I had
Like
that,
that.
and I just put it on.
And I'm going to
right
trim out
behind the bead, and then I put it on.
Trim out the little tag ends.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about a bead head's worth past the bead head?
Yeah, I would say you want them nice and long because what we're going to do is we're going to just push them back like this. And
Ah.
they're going to be a little like that. Okay?
They're hard to hold.
So they go along the side then.
Yep, they go along the side on the Psycho prints. Unlike the Prince nymph, which go across the top. Okay? And then take some more of your dubbing and fill in that backside, and you're done. Psycho prints. This hook is the only nymph hook I have right now that I think to learn on, because I brought it because it was long. It should be a shorter nymph hook for this nymph. This will work as a stonefly though.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So look for a little shorter shanked hook.
Okay, then you just take them straight back with your fingers.
Yep, stroke them back.
And you don't take your thread though past the wing. You
No.
keep it at the head end.
Yep, and then look, I'm just gonna make
I
a
got it.
collar with the dubbing.
Got it.
Heavily dubbed, and you can loosely dub this. So what I mean by loosely dub is just gonna spin it on there loosely so it looks leggy. Like this. Fuzzy. Some people will even do a dubbing loop here. That's not correct. Good. Heavy collar on it, right? And that's your cycle prints. Just tie it off behind the bead. Okay. There, just to make it look a little bit more stonefly, I put some black magic marker across the back. That's your cycle prints, Mike Mercer. Feel that thing, it's a depth charge. Yeah, good. Just collar it up good. There you go.
just tie her off.
Yep, tie it off. You can use a half hitch just for the sake of art. Let's see. Now that's heavy duty. That'll work good. Yep, I like that.
Any suggestions?
Just you see how your two biots? Next time put one on this side and one on that side.
Ah, okay.
Okay, that's it. Otherwise it looks like a print snip to
You
me.
didn't catch, I forgot to
Ah, look at that.
cut the
Got a
tag
long
off
tail.
earlier.
Yeah, that's a little long.
That's all right. You're learning how to part of it is learn the proportionality.
Right.
You only do that by doing it, right?
Yeah.
I think it looks
Cool. That's a good one.
great. I'd fish this on the Yellowstone, no problem. What you got, Rafe?
Do you throw this like as the collar, the purple?
Yeah. Yeah, to pack it in there too. Make it look like muscled up. Like a lot of times there's a differentiation between the abdomen and the thorax, and that's really the thorax.
Yeah, hopefully we get a nice slow melt.
Yeah, right.
As we hatch.
Yeah, let's hope. I think I
Fingers
looked, we're like at
crossed.
128% snowpack.
And that's up 20%
Yeah,
from 2 weeks ago.
yeah.
So you know,
Well, we're gonna be getting more. It's not-
yeah, I know. It's just not a question. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Yeah.
What I hope is that the elevation snow does not let loose like it let loose last year.
There's really good ice layers in this year,
Yeah.
so
That's good.
that helps for.
Yeah, it kind of slows it down a little bit. It takes a little bit more heat and energy
Like
to.
last year, we didn't have anything until April and May, and there was no ice layers in that, so
Yeah.
it went.
It let loose all at once. So I know. How you doing, Amy?
I'm probably so pretty sweet.
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Trim those out. You're okay with that? Good. You still have 3 wraps to lock it all down. You come in on that area there with some more yellow or purple, whatever you'd like to use. Here's mine. You can take a look at that. I tied it with dark olive, and then I just went in there with the marker, and because like again, stoneflies have that dark, prominent back. I just made a mark on there. And with the yellow ones, just dot it. Don't go crazy with it. Just less is more. Because the ones downstairs, like
Cool.
they're
You guys want
just
to see this?
they're so nice looking.
Oh yeah, so my tails are way long.
Yeah, they're a little longer than mine. Hey, look, I don't think fish is out there looking at the length of the
Right.
tails, right?
This is a fake stone. Look at the tail.
Yeah. Who brought the new guy?
Look at the tail on
How do you tie it off
Yeah.
without the?
Huh?
How do you tie it off?
Oh, just half hitch it.
Half hitch.
Just lay your fingers across it like that, and just roll over the top of it,
You twist the.
and then twist it up behind the. There you go.
Get it?
You're just basically making an overhand knot,
Okay.
like that little marker trick.
Yeah.
It looks really great on a yellow one of these.
Yeah.
The variegated yellow brown, and then you tap it with the back on the
Yeah.
back. It looks like that looks like
Yeah.
a golden stone.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Do we have time to tie this one again?
Yeah, you want to do it again?
Handling those buyouts is a little bit tricky, and
It
then
is
where
tricky.
they go. I didn't realize the top ones went on the
see.
side.
It looked like a really like.
I love it.
beautiful collar.
Dude, I love it. I love it. Looks great. And when you look at those ones on the side, like Mercer, you can. This is perfect. This is great. I'm not Mercer ties them on the side, but
Okay.
that is. I mean, you put that in there.
I like the purple on the front.
You like that? You know what else would look really good on there is like dark or like a real like this color, right? Kind of complements yellow. Yeah, or black, or would be really cool is purple, black. really dark.
Sometimes those flashier ones attract the white fish, I swear too.
Yeah, the mighty whitey. The price one must pay.
Yeah.
I just remember like my first year here and like being on a hole. I'm like, geez, this thing looks great. And I like get out there and like indicator goes down, boom, whitefish, whitefish.
Did you know what it was when you?
Yeah, I knew what it was. I had fished for them specifically in lakes in Wisconsin because they're wonderful smoked,
Oh,
especially when they come out of the deep Canadian Shield lakes, cold water.
the whitefish up in Alaska are huge.
Yeah, are they?
It's using to feed dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have the she-fish up there too, which is related to the, and they get up 40, 50, 60 pounds. They look like a tarpon.
Wow.
And they'll hit dry flies.
Wow.
Well, so will the whitefish in the Yellowstone.
Yeah, right. But I mean, if you look up she-fish, it looks like a tarpon.
Yep. And so,
Very much so.
I mean, I was like, bang, bang. I like caught 10 and then bang. And then like the fight was on and I was like, oh, that's a trout. You know, so sometimes you got to wade through the whitefish to get to the big trout here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
It's kind of like salmon fishing up in Alaska. You gotta get through all the humpies to get to the silvers.
Correct.
Nobody wants to catch the humpies.
Okay, we're going to do another one of these. You want to do another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
You want to do a 14? I had a box of 14s too, so they're not so big.
sure.
Did you ever fish for the Chinook?
Out of the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chinooks and coho, you know, those two. At the mouth of the Peshtigo, I used to fish on the Peshtigo River off of Lake Michigan. And then that was the first time I ever caught like a lake run brown trout and a steelhead too. It was like they were in there gobbling eggs.
You ever go up to Fort Peck yet?
Not yet. I've heard that at the dam is a great place to get into them.
Yeah, they've got them in that close to 30-pound range.
Jeez, that's big.
Yeah.
That is big. All right, let me get the 14 ones.
Okay.
All right, so 2 of these.
And use the gold bead, not the gold bead, use the smaller bead on this one. Okay.
The copper one.
The copper one's a little bit smaller. It probably fits better. Oh, well, hold on. There's
This one or?
those ones right there. Look a little bit smaller than that one. Or are they the same size? I can't read them from here, so.
Let's see, they are same size.
Same size. All right, use the copper one.
This one.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's smaller.
Thank you.
So we're doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're gonna do one more. Yeah, and then I'll
You guys want to just grab one?
I'll tie the kind of the golden stonefly that
I'll get 3.
I'm not gonna say I invented it because like it's basically a nymph.
Put your twist on it.
I said, well, I want to make that look like a golden stonefly. That's what I said. Thanks. But there's nothing unique about the fly that I would say you could name it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Patty has heard me rail at like the modern fly tire, putting a colorful bead on the front of an old pattern and calling it something new. I was like, well, gosh, when we put a gold bead on it, it's just called a gold bead tungsten. You know, tungsten gold bead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Again, I just want to say that like these are the nymph hooks I had. I would choose a curved nymph hook, which is a little smaller normally for this pattern. Okay, so like literally 1/5 as long. But this is what I had in the bin to use. Okay. Okay, so we put our bead on. We're gonna make a little ball on the back end, and that'll help split the tails.
I didn't know that trick. That's a good one.
It works really great with micro fibbits as well, like when you tie in mayflies and stuff, or spinners especially. I measure up my two. I'm gonna put it on there. I'm just gonna pinch it on and lash it down. I'm gonna check it like that. There we go. And again, I told you that you didn't have to put a ribbing in it. I think ribbing is good though, because it just builds a good skill and it builds a much stronger fly.
Like copper you're talking about?
Copper rib, yeah. So even like sometimes people use thread, extra thread that like off the tail or whatever, and so that is another. But what it does is it just kind of keeps the fly together, and it gives it that the kind of like a lot of bugs are silhouetted with that.
You ever do like peacock too? With the root?
Oh yeah, the quill. Yeah. And sometimes I even use these biots on really small flies. I'll soak them in water. I'll tie the tip in, and then I'll wrap the biot around, and it looks really.
That's how you do that. You soak it in water.
Yeah, because otherwise it splits, right? Or a little pinch between the cheek and gum. Not to offend the people at Skoll or Copenhagen or anything like that, but sometimes that works too. My tails are in. I'm just going to run copper wire up the side to build body.
Sure.
And then come all the way back.
You want some stuff first?
Oh yeah.
I got some extra here too if you want.
There you go. Mine's too short. The copper.
Here.
Yeah, perfect.
Is that enough?
I think so.
Here's another piece too.
Finally.
Have you tried many of the pike stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, growing up in Wisconsin, fly rotting for pike and muskie was something I did quite a bit of in April. Like first ice off, the pike spawn in the spring and they move into shallow water, especially around estuaries, and you can target some really big fish, like sight fish to them.
Well, that's what you do with other pork too in the fall.
Yeah, I've heard.
The end of October when the lake rolls.
Yeah.
The temperature in the bottom is the same as the top. It flips.
Yep.
And it clears up, and you can go sight fish all the bays for the pike.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
I use a 9-weight with like intermediate sinking line to keep the fly from rising in the water column and fish 3 to 5 feet of water, 2 to 5 feet of water.
Piece of copper.
Piece of copper? Yeah, let me get you one. Here.
Okay. I got a shorter tail.
Thank you.
How you doing, Amy? Get them to kind of split for you.
Kind of.
You can like muscle them.
Um, and I'm kind of going in between. And
Yeah, you're figure eighting.
yeah.
That's a technique they use throughout especially the East Coast flies that have the upright and divided wings. Really cool. Catskills pattern, stuff like that.
Do they have big stonefly hatches back there?
They have some stonefly hatches, but they tend to be early and small.
Oh,
They do not have salmon fly hatches like we have here,
right.
but they do have some golden stone or some eastern golden stone, and they have what would they call the little brown stone, which is like a 14.
Hmm.
They have yellow sallies, just like we do. Which I think, to be honest with you, is like the Yellowstone is not like a hatch centric river. It doesn't have like it has the Mother's Day caddis, it has the salmon fly, it has some green drakes, it has some caddis, other caddis, but nothing that like every fish comes to the surface for.
Right.
The Spring Creeks have the PMDs. That's a big one, the Western Sulphur, and midges. But like, if I had to like pick, I'd fish a yellow Sally the first half of the season. I love that fly, and that's what I think what the yellow version of this looks like. And they come to that little yellow foam fly like nobody's business, which I really like. We tied Patty and I tied some a couple weeks
A
ago.
couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Those were fun.
Yep. Good. Pick your dubbing. Let's put our dubbing in. Make a noodle. Go up. Just leave just a little gap behind the bead. And then we'll tie in the wing bud case and the
Thank you.
and then the two little leggies, and then
Yeah, we don't live too far off the Gallatin River.
nice.
And there was a heck of a snowfly hatch. I don't know, last Friday I think it was.
That's
Really?
awesome.
I mean, the whole, like, we're probably a quarter mile off the river. And the snow in our yard was just crawling. These little black
Really?
midges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bitty, bitty.
I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah. Yep. They're midges. There are
I
some.
saw them moving, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I was on Depews last week, and I saw them on the snow too. And next to them were the little blue-wing olive mayflies. That's the other big hatch around here is the blue-wing olive.
Oh. Okay.
So we do have a fairly decent BWO hatch.
We fish around. We have a spot that we discovered years ago on the Yellowstone down in the park. Nobody hikes to because they I don't know,
Too far.
Bring too far.
Yeah. A little of both.
And anyway, the mayflies over the drakes.
Ah.
They're huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
I've gotten on the one on the Lamar a number of times where the fish are just rolling in the water in front of you, and you're like,
Are the fish back in Lamar?
oh, yeah.
They had a big kill off a few years ago.
I mean, I've had pretty good run there over the last 7 years.
Oh, okay.
And September is my favorite time to go there too. It's like when the river here gets a little stagnant, go over to the park and you're 2,000 feet above in elevation, and it's really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, we found an island on Yellowstone, and it's right in the middle of the river, and it's very tricky to get to. But there is a way to it. And I tell you, it's pretty cool. We've been chased off there by buffalo a few times.
Well, they
Not
didn't chase
chased
us.
off, we got
We
nervous.
kind of got
Yeah.
nervous.
Caution being the better portion of valor. Okay, once we get that up, we're gonna tie in the wing bud again. Remember,
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
it's trimmed short. Here you go. You need some.
I got some here.
Like so. That little box. Can you give me that little box? Thanks. just gonna take 2 of these back.
Yeah, I was interested in enjoyable fishing down in the park last year because all the out-of-staters thought it was closed for
Yeah.
summer.
Well, my wife and I, when they opened up the North Gate Road on October 15th, and Patty too, I think you told we like jumped in the
Yeah.
car. We were like,
Yeah,
pack the car, you
Yeah.
know.
it was so fun after so long.
And then where's my second one?
They put on the front head first before the wings.
That's okay.
No, do I? That's why
Let's see.
I got the body on. I can't remember what this stuff is.
Okay, so you put the wing butt on
The
next,
wing bar on there?
Yep.
Okay.
and that's the widow's web there. And then we put in the legs.
So everything's twisting.
Yeah, a little bit, right? So go. Let's take a look here.
Yes, please.
Trying to get the copper on it.
Oh yeah, it's kind of going around with it.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, look at that.
That's my tooth.
Just tighten it up real good.
I don't
Now
know
try.
how much. Like
Just
just
go in here like that and pull some of this out of there. Right?
Yeah, that's
There you go. Tighten it down and then wrap.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see.
So I point them forward. You can put them in pointing backwards as well, the front legs, because I like it. I just like bending it over and spinning it like that. But I tied those in a little long, so I'm gonna pull them out. And that's the thing with fly tying is you can go backwards too. Just unwrap and redo it.
That's true.
Here they are. And I was like showing Patty this fly that I tied this week. It took me 2 hours because I was trying to be exact in everything I did. There's not much to the fly, but it took me over 2 hours, and then I had to go home and get supplies to finish it off. Probably spend another 35, 40 minutes on it the other day.
Yeah, if you guys look at the wraps on it under your magnifiers, it's pretty darn impressive. I don't know if I got this in the right place or not. Let's see. There's a little bit of a Beyonce.
That's right.
Baby got back.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
Maybe
heavily and heavy.
it's a stonefly that wants to be a caddis fly. The big booty.
Yeah, little bit.
There we go. And then here, we'll use this one.
Trying to kind of like make a really big collar to take away from the giant butt, and that's not working so well either.
It's all about proportion. Here we go.
Call it the Kardashian.
That's
Yeah,
right, the Kardashian
exactly.
fly. The joke I tell them, we gave my daughter a cell phone because she's starting to babysit, and she